Hello, hello, amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. I have a beautiful soul here with me today, a Hollywood star, a Hollywood legend. I love, 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 love her. Her name is Fanny Grande, and she's a Venezuelan American award-winning filmmaker, actor, and director, and much, much, much more. And I'm so excited that I get to interview her today, amigas, because as you know, I like to share everything. When I get to know someone, I'm like, oh my God, I want her on my podcast. And that's exactly what happened with her because I met her at this event called We All Grow Latina, and it was amazing. And I got introduced to her and I was like, oh my God, she needs to be on. So welcome, 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 Fanny. To Amiga Handle Your
Thank
Shit
you for
podcast.
having me. Thank
Oh,
you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited to talk to you. Yeah, that was an amazing event. What an incredible, powerful gathering of Latinas. I really felt like, yes, we are the jefas,
yes,
Great to
we
be around
are.
other
We
jefas.
are. We are the jefas. And speaking of
Yes.
jefas, because you are a jefa, but before you became a jefa, you were born here and you have a family from Venezuela. So tell me, how was your
Yeah.
upbringing?
Yeah, I had an interesting upbringing. I was born in the US because my parents were on scholarship in the US. The Venezuelan government in the 70s had this program in which they were sending all these students who were good students, mostly from like low class, middle class, out to the world to get educated. And then they had to return and promise to work in Venezuela for at least 10 years. And my parents received one of these scholarships and they went to LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And then
Wow,
they had to move back and they're like, hey, let's have a kid. So she's American.
that's
So
right.
I was bored, but English was my first language, but I forgot it because I moved to Venezuela and I was like 3.
Oh, yeah.
And I grew up in called La Gringa, right?
Uh-huh.
But but when I came back to the US, and listen, my upbringing was beautiful. Venezuela was thriving at the time. I was acting because that's always been my love. I was, singing. I was a performer since a very young age.
Ooh.
And um, but when I turned 17, my parents, they saw the political situation in my country get really bad. So we left and we moved to Denver, Colorado. And to me, I didn't know any difference. I was like, oh, I'm closer to Hollywood. Denver, Colorado.
And then you look at the map and you're like, well, not really. I got to cross a
When
couple
I
of
moved
states.
here, I was like, oh, wait, I'm closer, but not that close. So I moved to Denver and I went to university in Denver to pursue my acting career. So I got a degree in acting and directing from the University of Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, okay, so what was your influence? Like why entertainment? Like were your parents part of this? Is that the reason they got their
Nobody.
scholarships to come and study over here? Why? What happened?
Nobody. I'm an anomaly in my family. I have an uncle who's in the business, but and a cousin that's in the business, but no, I didn't grow up with it. I grew up singing, right? So I think I got hooked because I think it was in kindergarten and I did a play at school and I had to memorize all these lines and I was like 6 or 5,
Uh-huh.
and I memorized this whole thing but to me it was very easy and I sang and I did all these things and I got a standing ovation and I just remember the lights on my face, and I was like, I'm
Oh,
hooked.
yes.
To my parents, like chagrin, they didn't want me to pursue. They knew it was gonna be hard. They didn't know
Yeah.
how hard, but my mom was like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do? Didn't you want to be a lawyer?"
I'm glad you
Like,
didn't. No, no, no,
right? So
no.
no, it just came out of that. Like I don't remember a time in my life when I did not want to be a performer. It's very interesting. I feel it's a curse and a blessing, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's a
yeah.
blessing because I've always known what I wanted to do, and it's a curse because it's so difficult, And I was like, nope, this is what I'm doing, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's where
Oh,
that came from. Yeah.
oh my, that's fascinating that, you have like a dual life almost, right? Like America and Venezuela. And
Yeah, and in Venezuela, people are telling me I'm a gringa. And here, of course, when I moved here, they're like, no, you're not. You're a Latina. And, I really got the difference when I moved here, having to check a box
yeah,
to go to college, right? Oh, check a box. And there's no box for Venezuelan.
yeah, yeah,
So I checked a bunch of them. I didn't know what I was doing, And then I really got present to, wow, the way they relate to race and ethnicity in this country is very different
yeah,
than how I grew up, right? I never was faced like, where are you? Never had to think about that,
no,
until I
right,
moved here and was very clearly told, like, no, you're not a gringa.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
okay, thanks.
yeah,
Now I'm fighting for like, wait, who are you to tell me I'm not, That's
right,
what I'm trying to really change.
yes,
We
yes,
are all American.
exactly, amen to that.
Mhm,
Definitely, and I know that you have a couple of films that really weave in
mhm.
into this whole race and that paradigm of
Yeah.
like the clash between one country and the other country and how we can manage. Because I always say, like, the systems were not made for us,
Yeah.
period. End of story. So we
Yeah,
get to create our own systems,
exactly. We
right?
get to disrupt or create our own, right?
Yes,
When it
yes.
comes to Hollywood, we are almost 20% of the population. We buy 1 in 4 movie tickets. We consume the most media of any ethnic group, yet we're invisible in media. All our shows get canceled. Like our movies is like I think we're at like 4% representation in media in the US. So the gap is large. And a lot of that representation is very stereotypical, not who we are as a people. And
Yeah.
behind the camera, the numbers are even worse.
Oh,
So I made it my mission very early on. I was really young when I started creating my own content. And I was like, nah, we're gonna change this. We're gonna create our own. We're gonna really carve out our own space. It's
yes.
a huge industry.
Right.
And the way we're represented in the media affects everything. It affects
Mhm.
how we're seen and how we see ourselves.
Right,
So
exactly. Absolutely. So now that we're talking about just this media and whatnot, you were living in Denver, you came to LA at some point in your life and
yeah.
on this mission. So tell us, because I know you are a co-founder of an amazing studio called Avenida Productions, but I want to know, like, what were those stepping stones to
Yeah.
create this Avenida production?
Yeah. I was in Denver. I went to college and I would not get cast in any place. And the dean of the college one day said, well, you should go to the Latino theater company in town. And at first I was offended because I'm paying them to educate me. Like, why wouldn't you cast me in things? Like, I've been acting my whole life. So, but I did. I actually joined the theater company in town and I found a group of people who were also fighting for representation. And I was like, wow, this is systematic. I got to do something about it. And there was one professor in my college that really encouraged me to write my own plays, to cast myself in them. And that's how, it sort of started. Um, I represented the school at the Regional Kennedy Center competition from one of the things I had written. I was like, ooh, okay. And then before I moved to LA, I wanted to make a little movie, a short film, right? Because I was like, I want to move to LA with something. So I knew somebody that worked at Univision and my friends from the theater company, and we made this short film. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I learned a lot. I sort of used my skills from directing theater into this film, and then I moved to LA. And right away, I entered my little short into a festival called the Latina Independent Film Extravaganza.
Woo.
That was founded by Josefina Lopez, and she's the writer and Real Women Have Curves, right?
Oh,
Yeah, and she's a
nice.
playwright. So I was like, ooh, I was anyway. So and I won a little award at the festival called Promising Filmmaker. And that really
Mm.
encouraged me to keep creating my own content because when I moved to LA, I realized, wow, it's even worse than I thought. Like every Latino actor that I was talking to is like, oh man, we're so tired of playing the gangbangers, like, in
Ah,
East LA. Like the whole population, Latino population, does not reside in East LA. And the way East LA is portrayed in film is not fair,
yeah.
Anyway, so I started making more and more short films. I won some major festivals, including, South by Southwest and many others, but I still could not get representation. Like it was just insane. So people started saying, well, the reason is you gotta actually make a feature length film. Oh my gosh. At the time, I was a single mother of two little boys.
Oh,
I'm like, how
wow.
the heck am I gonna do a feature? How am I gonna get this funded? I just didn't, it just didn't seem possible. And somebody had mentioned, oh, you should try crowdfunding.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what that was at the time. But I was like, I started doing my research and I was like, oh, so I can get my project funded by the community. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I saw it. That's how I
Yeah.
interpreted it. So I ran my first crowdfunding campaign for a film called Homebound.
Okay.
And I went to the community and I said, listen, help me make a movie about an American family that just happens to be a Latino family with no stereotypes. And that was such a revolutionary idea back then. This was 10 years ago. Now everybody's talking about it, which is great.
Yeah.
But back then, I think I was the first person in the community to do a crowdfunding campaign for a feature film. It was really beautiful because it was really inclusive on my social media and, I was very vulnerable, my ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I raised enough money to make the film. And then we shot in a small town in Texas, and people had seen the campaign film, the campaign video
Yeah.
for the
Uh-huh.
movie.
Uh-huh.
And they started showing up on set. Like I didn't have to pay for one extra. I didn't pay for any locations, any picture cars. We had people showing up on set with food, to feed everybody. Um, I even had somebody show up and he's like, hey, I have a crop duster if you want to use it. So I had aerial shots, this is before the drones.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And
Nice.
I really got the power of community. Like people are starved for representation. It became, like community theater, it became community movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the movie came out great because my dollars really stretched out and but then I couldn't sell it. Nobody would buy it. Oh, why is it in English? Oh, it's not set in East LA. These are things I like.
Ah.
Yeah,
Oh
you don't
my
have any celebrities. You should have cast J-Lo. I'm like, J-Lo's not gonna do my tiny film. Like I'm trying to build celebrities, not, you know,
yeah.
use the one celebrity that we have. So I went back to the community. I said, hey, this awesome movie you helped me make, I can't sell it. So people started requesting the film at their local movie theater.
Okay.
And I toured the country with the movie, and that's how I sold it. Right? Because
Yeah.
then distributors are like, oh, she's got something here. People are showing up to the movies,
Right.
they're requesting the film. So it was a long process. It was really arduous. It was really hard, but it was so fulfilling.
Mm.
And then at the time I was running a nonprofit called Nosotros, which was founded by Ricardo Montalban,
Yeah.
who's the vice chair. And a lot of the members were asking me like, how'd you do that? Can you teach me? Can you teach me?
Yeah.
So I started telling other filmmakers, storytellers, actors, writers, people who wanted to take charge of their careers. I started to sort of like help them on the side. And then with my two kids, my three jobs, like it was a lot. And then my now husband and I, we were dating at the time. And he was like, he saw me coaching a filmmaker and she'd raised a lot of money in a very short period of time. And he was like, babe, this is a business. You're giving it away. I was like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to charge people. I just want to help. And he's like, you're being so silly. Like, no, like we could have a business that has an impact, a positive impact. You're actually going to be able to really focus on what you love and what you're passionate about, which is about creating opportunities for our community in
Yeah.
Hollywood. So I said, all right, he quit his job first. And you know what? I have to say at the moment I was really scared, like, oh, I gotta leave everything to work with my boyfriend, but I really trusted him. I just had a lot of trust in him,
Yeah.
right? I was like, this guy's not gonna let us fail. I just
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah.
And he had come from the business side. He had worked for startups before. So I was like, okay. So he quit his job. We opened Avenida. Within a couple of weeks, I had to quit mine. I quit my job too because it was like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
had so many clients. Danny Trejo was one of our first clients. So forget it.
Oh,
Like, we
yeah.
helped him.
Well, yeah.
So,
That's
it's like,
huge.
yeah. So we started our kitchen table 6 years ago, and now we have this beautiful building.
Yes, I see. Yes, Avenida
Yes.
Studios. Yes.
Yeah, so we're an independent movie studio. We use non-traditional methods to get our stories told, right? We
Yeah.
mostly work with Latino filmmakers, but we work with all filmmakers from underrepresented communities. And it doesn't have to be filmmakers. We work with so many people that have never made a movie before, but just have a great story to tell and are committed to getting it told. So it's very
Wow.
exciting the work that we're doing. Very
Oh,
unique too. Like people are like, huh? But it's working. So
yes. Oh my God. I am so happy that you did this because we need this. We definitely need it. Latinas that empower our community,
yes.
and this industry is tough,
It's hard.
tough,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
tough. And you're making it happen. So tell me, okay, so you created Avenida with your now husband, and I know I was looking through your website and I see that there's like Mi Vida DACA, our
Yeah.
quinceañera, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, as an immigration attorney, Mi Vida DACA, I'm like, okay, hello, hello. Tell
Yes.
me, how did this come about for you?
So Mi Vida Daca, like we wanted to call it that, inspired by Mi Vida Loca.
Yes.
It's my DACA life. So Maribel was one of our first clients, and she came and she's like, listen, I heard about, I mean, we knew each other sort of like through social media. And she's like, listen, I'm DACA. I didn't even know what DACA was at the time. I really didn't. And she's like, the government has given me a permit to leave. It's called something called advance parole. But
Yes.
the thing that I wrote a letter saying the reason they gave me this is because I said I was going to make a documentary. I don't know how to make a documentary. So I'm like, oh shoot, okay, let's do it. So
Oh, wow.
we crowdfunded in the middle of the crowdfunding campaign. She gets the letter from the government saying you got 2 weeks to do this, or
Yes.
we're not going to let you come back in.
Yeah. 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 They only
Um,
give you a certain amount of time. You can't,
yeah, but
and
she
you
got it
cannot.
late. She got it late. Like she got her letter late. We're like, okay, she was freaking out. I was like, let's just do it. We can do this. So we used my husband and I contracted a small crew in Mexico and our client, and we just went to Mexico. This was 6 years ago. It was one of our first projects that we've been filming for 6 years. Because what happened was when we were filming in Mexico, as soon as we got back, Trump got elected.
Oh,
So
God.
we had to keep filming because he used the wall, he was using Dreamers, he was saying that he was going to get rid of DACA, he was going to deport them all, he was using them as pawns, and people were marching against it. I don't know if you remember, like he
Oh,
got
my
really
God.
heated.
Yeah.
And DACA is one of the few things Republicans and Democrats agree on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
for Trumpers, that's a different breed. So for me, we just wanted to make a film that humanized the immigration story and that really shed light into our immigration system is broken. And when people say, "Oh, just get back in the back of the line," right? That's get in the back of the line, and then there's no line.
There's no
There's no
line.
line.
No, there's
Where
like
these
a
kids,
30-year
you know,
wait. You're
oh,
gonna
but
be
if you're
dead.
DACA, you don't have a line.
Oh no,
If
in
you're
DACA,
DACA,
no. Right.
yeah. So now we're releasing this film. We're actually having a private screening during the Latitude conference in San Diego. We're very excited because President Obama, who created DACA, is gonna be a speaker. So hopefully he shows up for the screening. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And then we're gonna premiere at the Immigration Film Festival in Washington, D.C.
Nice. And when is that?
And that is October 13th. We're opening night film. We're very excited because during the filming, we went to DC and we met with, people and talked to them. It was really cool. So that's one of the projects. Our Quinceañera is a beautiful project about a high school principal in a border town in Mexico who hosts a free quinceañera for his students who can't afford it. And the whole
I
town came
know.
together. And
Oh,
that came from one of my husband's friends. His name is Gilbert Galvan, who works, he's also a lawyer, by the way. He works in the entertainment industry, but he's like, listen, my dad does this amazing thing for his students. And as soon as he shared it with us, we're like, we're doing this. So we crowdfunded it. Within a month, we were there filming. And
nice.
that movie has been amazing because it's won pretty much every festival it's screened at. It even won Gina Davis Film Festival, the Audience Award. And, it's now out in the world. It's on Tubi, it's on VIX, it's in a bunch of platforms right now for people to watch.
Oh,
But all
nice.
we do is like, what can we do to transform a stereotype about our community? What can we do to really humanize what we're going through? And we also have a lot of comedies and stuff that we do. It's not all
Right.
like super deep stuff. Like we also have to laugh. And at the end of the day, we just want to provide a platform for all our stories to be told, not just that one, right? We usually get to like the struggle of the immigration,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Or the gangbangers, right? And it's like, but there's no, okay, why is somebody a gangbanger? Why is somebody like,
Yes.
there's actually some, the culture of like being a cholo or a chola, like there's some richness there
Yeah.
that is hardly explored, right? So
Right.
anything when a client comes to us pitching us something that is going to transform certain parts of our community, that's what we want to, that's the kind of stories we love to tell.
Yes. 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 And, and this will be the antithesis of what this Trump guy was doing,
Yeah.
like trying to say that we were rapists and murderers and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like, you hear it and you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
But he got elected.
I know.
Okay. And a lot of Latinos actually voted for him.
Yes.
This is
Yep.
why media is so important,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
This is why media is so important, because if all you see in the media is us as criminals and the rapists, you're
Yes.
gonna believe that.
Yes.
Even if you're a Latino, you're like, well, maybe it's the people coming after me,
Right.
which I think is kind of hypocritical, but that's a whole other conversation. But I think media has such a huge impact. This is why we do the work that we do.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So then you have these two Mi Vida Daca, our quinceañera, which I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my God, it reminded me of when I had my quinceañera many
Yes.
years ago.
So
But
sweet.
so what's next for you?
So we're very excited. We opened our facility. What's next for us is we're launching Avenida TV, which is our biggest undertaking to date. And it's going to be an American Latino streaming network. So English content or bilingual. And we're going to tell our stories. And we also launch our very own crowdfunding platform, because we're
Okay.
using all the other ones, and we honed into, okay, what is it that our community needs, our creatives? Can we build a crowdfunding platform that's going to empower the creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with free coaching, which
Ooh,
is like magical. People don't understand. Like we actually tell you, okay, take these actions today, and we guide people through it. We launched in March. We've already raised $600,000 on beta testing in just a few months, so we
nice.
know that it works. And people are going through this pipeline of crowdfunding with us. Then they shoot at our studio. And now the missing part is distribution, which is going to be Avenida TV. And there's
Nice.
no real streamers for our demographic, in English for American Latinos. So we're very excited because it's being generated by the community for the community. And we're just really excited about it. It's a huge undertaking, but all the other streamers are canceling our shows and our films. They're like, okay, if we have to do it, we'll do it. We'll do it ourselves, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you make it. You make it. If it's not there, then you make it. I think
Exactly.
that's part about being a jefa, right? Like if
Exactly.
it's not happening, then you create it.
Yeah.
You have
And
the
for
power
me,
to
I
do
think
that.
always wanting to act and not having an option has been like my fuel, but also now it's more of like, no, this is my, no, I am a stand for our community to be honored and celebrated for our contributions to this country. If the pandemic says anything, you know, Latino business owners were the spine of so many industries during the pandemic. And that's not something you ever hear about, you know? It's like, okay, we even help the entertainment industry keep afloat because we consume it so much.
Yes.
So I'm just a stand for our community to be perceived a certain way, not just for others, how others see us, but if we can't see it, we can be it, right?
Yeah.
Our own youth, ourselves, to be inspired. You know, I'm in Atlanta right now. We did a workshop yesterday with some filmmakers, with about 50 filmmakers, and they're like, wow, now we see it. We can do this. It's like, yes, you know? So for us, that's the solution, not focus just on celebrities and giving them all the money so that they can create projects, because it's very limited, the number of celebrities that we have. For us, we're building from the bottom up. We're empowering the storytellers, the people that have the talent and the skills and the stories. They just don't have the partnerships or the know-how.
Right. And that's where you come in.
Yes, that's where we come.
Awesome.
So they don't have to do this process by themselves, because when I did it by myself, when I was figuring it out, it was so difficult.
I can imagine. And like finding the support, not only financially, but just like even emotionally, because I'm sure it's like a roller coaster.
It is. It's hard. It's very, very difficult, but really rewarding. And at the end of the day, you're empowering yourself. You're not waiting for somebody to give you permission to create your passion project, your dream project. It's amazing, because some of our clients have been trying to make, for example, a feature film for 10 years, and within a year they have a movie in the can, you know, or in theaters or on Netflix or something like that. And it's like, wow, okay, this works. It really works, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. So for someone like myself who is so, I don't know anything about the film industry. I just like films. I like going and seeing them. What can I do, and people like me, to support you and the cause? Because I think this is something that amigas that are listening to this podcast could hear and understand and do something to help the cause.
Yeah, first, we need to really stop spending our dollars with companies that don't support us, that harm us. We have to take a stand. Listen, if you look at the African American community and even the Asian community, right? They're a little bit more bonded. They take a stand. They're like, if you don't represent us this way, we're not going to give you money, period. So there's something about like really taking a stand and how we're getting represented. I feel like the younger generation, like on TikTok, etc., they're more activated. We need to follow their lead. And also support our projects. If you see that, you know, we're releasing something, go watch it. You know, when Avenida TV launches later, please subscribe. It's gonna be $4.99. It's gonna be super, super affordable. Subscribe, watch things, tell other people, because once we start taking a slice of the industry, they're gonna come and we're gonna get the funding and the respect that we deserve. But just like, look at, for example, somebody like Tyler Perry, right? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing. And even if you don't like the content that he creates, you have to respect the man. He has the largest movie studio in the country. He's broke so many stars. He sells content to so many networks. And now when you watch TV, you see African Americans represented as they should be, you know? We're not there yet, but it's much more than us Latinos. And it took somebody like that to say, you know what? Forget this. I'm gonna do my own thing. And this is who we are for the Latino community. So we just need people to share what we're doing, sign up for a network, support the work that we're doing. If you want to host a screening of DACA, let us know. We're gonna start doing our tour. Just lift us up, because the work that we're doing is very, very difficult. We are blessed to have a backing of a Latino venture capital firm called Latitude or LatVC, and that's helped us grow. But we need the support of the actual community,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
this to move forward. Yeah.
So tell me, when is it supposed to launch Avenida TV so that we
By
can
the
get
end of the
ready?
year.
I'm
By the
sorry?
end of the year,
Okay,
or early January. We're
nice.
putting the last little touches on it.
Oh, I love that. You hear it,
Yeah.
amiga. So you gotta subscribe. I
Yeah.
always say, like, the only reason this podcast can survive is by people, you know, giving me 5 stars and reviews. Otherwise, the algorithms are going to be stale and they're not going to go up. Same
Exactly.
thing, right? Like we need to support one another. And I'm
Yeah.
so happy for you. And I know that this is going to be huge. And I definitely, you can count on me. I'm going to be subscribing. Yes, yes, absolutely. And we're going to put it in the show notes about Avenida TV. We'll put your website there. So
Please.
before I let you go, I always like to ask my amigas on the podcast if you could provide me with 1 or 2 tips on how an amiga can handle her shit. I would love to
Yeah.
hear for you.
So somebody told me once, you gotta have a vision that is bigger than yourself. That way you're never gonna quit. Something you're really positive, something you're very passionate about. Right? So you have this mission, like for me, my mission is to transform the image of Latinos in the media. Obviously, I'm not going to do that by myself. It's impossible. But because it's big, I take a step every single day and I chip away. Also, really surround yourself with the right people is very, follow your gut, right? Follow it. Don't follow about anything. It's your life. They don't have to be in your life or in your business if it's not working out. Because as Latinas, a lot of times we want to please. And then we let people that are not a match for us into our lives, into our businesses. And for me, it's really important to, and I hate this, but it's the truth. You have to embrace failure as part of your success journey. And really, every day, and I forget sometimes, my husband reminds me, I have to take time to really get present to my blessings and the small wins along the way. This whole thing of making it, it's to me, it's not real. There's no making it, right? You got to really celebrate, like, I made it today. What did I do today? Oh, I did a cool podcast. I'm in Atlanta. I had a great workshop yesterday, and I'm going to spend time with my family.
Yeah.
These are huge wins, instead of waiting for this miracle of making it, whatever that means. Really do celebrate your victories along the way.
Yes. And you know what? As Latinas, oftentimes we don't. We just
We
keep,
don't.
we're on autopilot.
Plus, we do a billion things a day. My husband says, yeah, that's because you're supernatural. You can't expect other people to be like you. You're supernatural. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm a Latina.
We've been given those genes to do a million things at one time. But
He's like, you can't expect everybody else to do it. Like, you're a machine. Like, no, I'm a Latina. Trust me. Like,
yeah.
think of your mom. And he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
My mom was the same,
Yeah. We do these things, and when we have passion, oh my God, skyrocket, blast
Yeah.
off. Yes.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful. Embrace your failures. I'm all about that. I lean into
Yeah.
my failures because I know that at the end, there's that opportunity waiting for me.
Yes. And if it didn't happen, maybe it was a reason. And it's okay to also allow yourself to cry. You have to. You can't hold on to like, And then a lot of the times when we think we fail, I don't even remember what I thought was a failure. Because at the end of the day, like Tyler Perry says, we're failing up, baby. Failing up.
Failing up. Yes. Failing up. I love that. I love that. Well, I am so excited for what's to come for you and Avenida TV, everything that you're doing. Please, 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 come back. I want to hear
Yes.
all about how is it going once it launches, and that way, amigas out there can like también, subscribe and you know, whatever, if you have a crowdfunding, you need investors.
Yes.
We are very very
Yes,
powerful
we
beyond
are.
measure.
Yes,
And,
we
you know, last night I had a beautiful dinner session with my amigas. And I'm like, we came out, we're like, oh, we're multimillionaires and we're going to act like it.
yes. Yes,
Yes.
we are.
So we get to invest like in people like you, what you're doing, and then it's just a ripple effect. So
Yes.
I am so excited for you, amiga, and I can't wait for all the amazing things that you're up to.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. Yeah, and if anybody's watching, just go to Avenida TV and reach out, and we'll be here for you.
Yay! Amen to that. Thank you so much for being here
Thank
on
you.
Amiga
Thank
Handle Your
you.
Shit podcast.